What's going on, guys? Killer6 back with my nuclear revolt ZANE build. Finally, right? A lot of you guys are probably sitting there going, finally. We've been waiting. K6, what took so long? Well, I farm my own gear. Takes a little while to do that. You know, you got to be a little bit patient with me. I'm old. But no, it took a little while, and I've also been battling a little bit of a sinus infection. Had a vacation at one point in there. Actually had 2 vacations in there, but that's not important. But what is important is this build. This build is fun, man. If you like to shoot things, boy, do I have a build for you. You're gonna get to shoot a lot of stuff with this build. This isn't one of those, you know, just stand there and let your clone do everything builds. You can do that. That build is fun too. I might even release one of those builds. What I like about this build is that I get to non-stop move, shoot, do damage, stay alive, constantly heal myself. It's just a fun build to play with, man. Like, this reminds me of like my old days on COD when I'd run and gun with the PP90M1 and I was dropping Moabs on people and everybody's pissed at me all the time and sending me messages calling me a hacker on an Xbox 360 because that's something you can do. So yeah, this build takes me back a little bit, I guess is the long story short. I really enjoyed this build a lot, and it's one of my favorite builds for any character that I've ever done. All right, so real quick, let's go over the gear. I'm going to show you what we can do to this Kraken here in a second. This build's all about the light shows. These light shows are going to be just amazing for this build. We've got fire, we've got corrosive, we have radiation, non-elemental, cryo, and the shock one. And I've rolled them all to have sentinel cryo. That is my favorite thing to do with this build, is just run sentinel cryo and everything. So yeah, I have got on here a cheap tips. Now I know that a lot of people are probably like, what, cheap tips? I don't use this thing to actually do damage. I use this thing to get chips so that I can then swap to a light show and do even more damage. We've also got a plague bearer here next to mags bonus corrosive. This is good for both the takedowns, because corrosive and shock is very important in both of those. This will give you a nice second win. It's not a perfect one. It just happens to be one that I've freaking got. I didn't even farm for it. Just got this while I was doing the Guardian takedown. The big sticking point for a lot of people with builds is that people are all using the Revolter. Well, it's the best shield in the game. This is like complaining that people use the B shield on Borderlands 2. It's the best shield in the game, so you're going to use the best shield in the game, otherwise you're an idiot, right? But that said, this build does not require you to use the Revolter. You can absolutely use this frozen snowshoe and be just fine. As a matter of fact, let's throw that on and let's kill this Kraken real quick so you can see. All right, and as you can see, we're just gonna absolutely melt the Kraken down. Boom. No problem. It doesn't matter. And actually the frozen snowshoe actually probably makes things a lot easier ultimately. If you're one of those people that's like, man, I can't stand all the chaos all the time of enemies being all over the place, they're all over me, I can't seem to control the fight. Well, if you pop the frozen snowshoe and you have the action skill start anointment on it, then you freeze things really well, and then you can just shoot them in the face because they're just standing there and there's nothing they can do about it. See, watch this. This guy is now frozen. I'll just sit here and murder him. It's easy. So you absolutely don't need the Revolter shield. I know that a lot of people are going to be like, oh, that's the only shield anybody ever uses, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's the best shield in the game, so you're just going to have to get over it. How about that? So that said, I will almost always use the Revolter just because of how strong it is, and we want to do the most damage possible as quick as possible, right? So why limit ourselves? Now, I have 2 on here. Both of these I have farmed myself. I got a double absorb one. This one I got live on stream during my One Life ZANE, and then I've got this one which has absorb and fleet. Both of these are action skill start, and since we're using the cannon, that means we can basically trigger our action skill start all the time. Like, watch this. Boom, action skill start. Got the Revolter. Now if the Revolter ran out right now, I just pop my cannon again. And with your cannon, you get a bunch of charges, so it's going to be hard for you to run out of being able to do action skill start. All right, in terms of the rest of the gear, like I said, you can use the cheap tips, stack up your poker chips, and then swap to another weapon, and then pick up the chips. Don't pick up the chips before you swap weapons. Swap weapons, pick up the chips, and you're going to do a lot more damage. That said, there is a ton of other fun weapons on this build. We've got a proprietary license. Again, I was talking about this in my This Gun Freaking Rocks video the other day. A lot of people don't use this thing, but it is amazing. It's like a combination of the Nighthawk and a Jacob's weapon because it has the crit ricochet, and also it's kind of a combination of the Chaosin as well because it has the sticky bombs that attach to enemies while you're shooting it. I love this gun. It's from DLC 3. Soul Render. What can I say about the Soul Render? You want to get the one that has the highest damage, and you want to find one that has a sub 9-second fire rate, because the sub 9-second fire rate means that it is going to be a full auto. We got redistributors. I got this one, and then I literally just got this one on our first run through here. So I've got a consecutive hits one, and I've got a cryo sentinel one. So the redistributor is great when you have large groups of enemies. You can basically just shoot anybody in that group. It's going to chain around to all of them and does a lot of damage. We got the EMP5. This is literally just so we can run fast. We got a smog that I literally just got while recording for this footage, and got this from the Guardian Takedown. This gun's actually another one that's really underrated. It's a lot of fun to use. We got Monarchs. Now, I sparingly use the Monarchs with this build, but I know a lot of people love them, so I farmed my ass off for you, and I got these. All these are the ×4 variant. You do not want the ×8 variant on ZANE or Amara, because you're just going to be reloading your gun all the time. We also got the needle gun. This is a base game gun now because they made cartels available for everybody. We got Tizzies. We got the free radical. Everybody should know about the free radical by now. It's amazing. We got a Zeetsev's eruption. This is a great debuffing tool. Now, the cool thing about this one is I rolled it with, actually I didn't even roll it. I just got this from the Takedown. And the cool thing about this gun is when you reload it, it debuffs enemies nearby. And this one has Mantis shoulder cannon damage, so I can debuff enemies, shoot them with my cannon, and probably do extreme damage. And then of course we have to have a Hellwalker on there. Action skill active weapon damage increased by 100%. All right, now in terms of the other stuff that we're using, we got Seeing Deads. Now, I have not gotten a perfect Seeing Dead yet. I haven't even gotten a OPQ system yet, but when I do get an OPQ system, this Atlas weapon critical damage and reload speed is a godsend right here. This one's really good. But the one that I've got on right now is weapon critical damage, weapon mag size, and melee damage. Don't need melee damage, so that's not important. But I've got a variety of them on here. We got splash damage radius with weapon damage and damage reduction. We've also got one that is weapon critical damage, and Torg weapon damage. I also have on here a lucky conductor if you want to play around with that. I've got an infiltrator if you want to play around with that, an executor if you want to play around with that, and a silent spy in case you want to play around with that. That said, I almost always use the Seeing Dead. In terms of the class mods, we have the Atlas Company Man, COV Company Man, Dog Company Man, Icebreaker Victory Rush. This is my main go-to. This one has cryo efficiency, cryo damage. I got this one while I was farming for a Minesweeper from a Moe's. Just a stupid, dumb luck drop, not even from its dedicated source. So I got real lucky with that one. That said, you don't have to have these perks, but these perks are godly. Cryo efficiency, cryo damage, those are great perks on an Icebreaker Victory Rush. In addition to that, I've also got a recurring hex that has on action skill and bonus cryo damage. In terms of the other artifacts that I've got, we've got a Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge, Snowdrift Victory Rush in case you just want to go fast. This one also has movement speed built in on the relic as well. And then we got the Cut Purse launch pad. All right, and then other grenades, we have just a variety of hex grenades. We've got a radiation hex grenade and a cryo hex grenade. This one has on action skill and radiation damage. This one has on action skill and corrosive damage. And then we've got a Mesmer. This is good if you want to put this on your drone when you're doing the Guardian Takedown. Just a really good way to like just zip through the Guardian Takedown. You probably saw in the footage where I'm just standing on the platforms and just dancing and having a good time because my clone just distracts all the enemies and lets me sit there on the crystals to charge them, which is a nice change of pace. And then we've got a piss grenade. It's level 60. It doesn't matter what level this thing is. If this was level 72, it doesn't do anything more than a level 60. And that said, it doesn't do any more than a level 35 for that matter. So if you have a really old piss grenade and it's got a good anointment on it, just hang on to it. You don't need to farm for another one. So that is the gear. Let's take a look at the skill tree. Up first, we have Capstone out the professional tree. This one, you have to aim down sights to get the benefits from this. So while aiming down sights, Zane's weapons deal bonus damage and automatically apply their status effects when he scores a critical hit. The whole automatically apply their status effects thing is not that crucial, but that extra 25% of damage dealt bonus damage is pretty nice. We've got a racer so that if we shoot through things, we get like that bore effect. We've got sheer will, so we get more cooldown rate, which we don't really need. We got reload speed and fire rate here. We've got gun damage that stacks up 10 times, so that's 150% more gun damage on the next shot fired after activating your action skill. We've got commitment. This one gives me gun damage, cooldown rate. This thing got a little bit nerfed a while back, but it's still an absolutely amazing skill. We've got headsman's hand, 30% critical hit damage. This stacks twice, so that's 60% critical hit damage. Obviously, mana focus. And then you can play around with the different things here. I went with No Way Out and Proliferation. These both give me a little bit more extra cannon damage. Not that I really need that, but this one gives me extra charges, 2 extra charges on my cannon, which means I can shoot it more often. Over here in the blue tree, this is probably the most damage heavy tree for me here. We got Violent Speed, Violent Momentum, Salvation, Drone Delivery, See in Red, Cool Hand. We got 5 out of 5 5 in Violent Violence, +1 for my class mod. We got 3 out of 5 in Playing Dirty, +2 from our class mod. We got 1 in Good Misfortune. This combined with the Seeing Dead class mod keeps your action skill going almost non-stop as long as you're shooting enemies. And then we got 1 point in the capstone for Death Follows Close. For my skills, I like to use Winter's Drone to apply that extra cryo damage to enemies, which, you know, with my Icebreaker Victory Rush and all my other cryo perks, I am doing lots of cryo damage. And then Bad Dose, this is a debuff on enemies and a buff to ZANE, so it's really cool. That said, if you don't want to bother with Winter's Drone, keep Bad Dose, but then switch to Static Field for your other one. Over here in the Pumpkin Spice tree, we got 2 in Synchronicity. This one's not as important if you're not doing 2 action skills that you want to keep up all the time. This one's going to give you 8% per active action skill. Now, popping the cannon does not count as a active action skill. It counts as an action skill end. So really, there's not really any huge benefit for me doing more than 2 points here. I did put 4 points here to get my action skill duration to stay up longer. And then we got 5 out of 5 in Donnybrook, +2 from our class mod, and 1 point in Duct Tape mod so that we don't hurt ourselves with our own weapons. Nothing in the green tree. We got our Guardian rank maxed out there, so keep that in mind. And we play on Mayhem 11 because there's no point in playing on any of the other Mayhems. So let's drop down and fight the Valkyries, and I'll show you what we can do. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go and put on the cheap tips just to kind of give you a little taste of what you can do with the cheap tips. All right, so check this out. We're going to just shoot this guy with the cheap tips a bunch, and you see all those chips falling on the floor there? See those blue chips? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and knock that guy down. We're going to go and put on our light show. We're going to pick these up. Now watch this. This is absolutely insane. Now look at the damage that we get out of these things. It's just stupid, honestly. It's just stupid. Not that we really needed that extra damage, but, you know, it's just amazing what you can do when you combine the cheap tips with basically any other gun. You can do this with rocket launchers as well. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the cheap tips. I don't see anybody using it, so I just felt like I should mention that during this video as well. So let's go up here and grab these chips and shoot these dudes, and we just absolutely melt them. I mean, we would melt them anyhow. Oh crap, oh crap. That's what happens, man. That's what happens when you record these videos live. Somebody punches you while you're jumping and moving too fast backwards. Long story short, that's the build. I mean, you guys saw in the footage at the beginning what this build can do, so I don't really need to like go all the way to the Wotan or kill the Valkyries or anything. You know what I can do with this thing. This build's absolutely amazing. You're gonna have a good time with this thing, running and gunning non-stop. I hope you guys enjoyed this build. It's been a little bit in the making. Again, I apologize for the delay, but I appreciate your patience. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, tap the bell icon for more. Let me know in the comment section down below, do you want to see Amara or Flak next? I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you on the next one. Y'all take care.